In our culture, we have a one quote as mentioned that the line of the line of lie is very short. Every crime leave a trace. Every activities leave a trace in a physical world and in the digital world. Maybe it will be anonymous for many years, but finally they find this guy behind this attack or these groups. I think it's just a matter of time. There are nothing hidden in the internet.
Hello everyone, this is your host Manoj Tandon. Welcome to another episode of Dark Rhino Security Confidential. Today we have a really cool guest from another part of the world. He is a super expert, a cybersecurity professional, very familiar with cybercrime, SOC operations, and malware analysis. But before I introduce him, I have to ask you guys to hit the like and subscribe button, because that's what allows us to bring this content to you. So show us some love. Please hit the like and subscribe buttons. Now, without further ado, I'd love to introduce to you folks Diyar Saadi. Diyar, he's a cybersecurity professional specializing in cybercrime investigation, SOC operations, and malware analysis. He's a contributor to the MITRE ATT&CK framework, and we're going to talk about he's strengthened global threat intelligence efforts and defensive strategies. He regularly speaks at international cybersecurity conferences, including Arab Cybersecurity, DeepSec, GISEC, BlackHat, SulyCon, just to advance the knowledge and understanding of cybersecurity for all of us. Thank you, Diyar, for joining us. I know it's late in your part of the world. Thank you for being here.
Thank you. It's my pleasure.
So you got to give us a little bit about your background, because we've gotten a little familiar with your work. How did you start off in this?
So my history in a cybersecurity back to 11 to 12 years ago, while my mindset be curious about how stuff is work, how this device is operating behind the scenes. So that's make me dive into the computer and the security field. While in beginners, I didn't know how to shut down the computer correctly, but step by step, after connecting to the internet, meet some friends, join the forums, watching some videos in the YouTube, I found myself in a forensic and security operations center stuffs, and then writing articles, sharing the threat actor mindset in a different international magazine and journals to protecting security infrastructures and users from the digital threat.
Wow. And at such a young age, you've accomplished so much. So the question is, for our audience that's listening, they're like, and especially being in Iraq, people in the United States have this image of Iraq. It's quite an accomplishment to learn something in a high-tech field, from the mindset people have. What would you suggest to other listeners if they want to really get into cyber? What should they be? What would be your recommended path now that you've done it?
Yeah. So actually, in Iraq, in the past, especially if you talk about 10 years ago, there are less resources, there are less articles to dive into it, because we have some problems in the language, and because our native language is Arabic and the articles in English. That's a quite issue for beginners at this time. But nowadays, there are translators, there are AIs, they can ask a question and they will answer. But my recommendation for everyone, beginners, intermediate, advanced people, is having familiarity, a good foundation in 6 stuffs. One of them is operation system internals. That's quite important. And the second one is Windows internal. And the third one is cryptography, because maybe you face the encryption blobs or the encrypted patterns. And the fourth one is foundation of the programming, especially if it came to C or C++ or a basic assembly, it can help you a lot. And the 5th one is having the some kind of curiosity. So like having OCD, to understand how stuff is work. That's a very important. So if you have a operating system knowledge, Windows internal knowledge, programming knowledge, cryptography knowledge, networking knowledge, I missed it to mention, it help you a lot to understand stuff. Because for example, when you came to using packets in Wireshark, if you don't know what a DNS is, what a HTTP is, what a FTP is, you don't understand the full pictures, and maybe you will be bypassed in the few minutes. That's a quite important stuff I have faced in the past, and I always suggest this 5 figures for everyone when they ask me, "What's your recommendation to us?"
So there's one of those is super interesting to me because it brings me back to when I was a young person, and that is you suggested learning assembly and C. That was, in university, that was something that was taught in my era. I don't think that's even taught anymore,
Yeah.
So how does one get that knowledge?
So as you mentioned it, most of the people nowadays, they jump into the Python, they jump into the Go, they jump into the Rust because it can be automated very easily. But actually, if someone start learning with the Visual Basic at the beginning of the programming, Visual Basic VB.NET, and then jump to the C#, because if you learn Visual Basic, you will learn C# very easily, because there are only some different syntaxes like a semicolon or console.writeLine and other stuffs. And then you can jump to the C or C++ or the basic assembly to understand the full picture. Because actually, when you decompile the C binary in IDA or in Ghidra, there are no Python, there are no Go, there are no Rust. There are only pseudocode of the C, and you have to understand what's going on behind the scenes of the program.
That is very cool. That is very cool. So you've contributed to the MITRE ATT&CK framework.
Yeah.
Is that the total knowledge we have about cyber attacks and how they occur? Or is there a lot of things that are not on the MITRE ATT&CK framework?
Yeah. So MITRE framework contains a lot of knowledge to someone that understands the threat landscape in the internet or in the digital space. But actually, there are still some underground techniques that doesn't reveal it to a MITRE framework. So my technique is called URL masking. So how threat actor is masking their URL to infiltrate the mindset of the users. For example, HR, human resource team, when they receive the email, when they receive the document. So actually, in this case, the threat actor can doing the file masking. Threat actor can doing URL masking to infiltrate the psychology of the users to click on the link. But actually, there are a lot of other techniques that nowadays red teamers, security engineers publish on LinkedIn, on GitHub, or in a conference talks that doesn't include it in a MITRE framework or in other model. So cybersecurity or cyber warfare is always like a cat and mouse game is. So yeah, it's like this.
That's fascinating, because there's, when you listen to a lot of the pundits out there, they stick to the well-established frameworks and approach. But you have said something that departs from what those pundits say, and you've used the word a few times. It's mindset. Whether that is the mindset of the user to get them to click on a link, the mindset of a hacker. And that is a subject that is not taught. It really isn't. And without it, how do you become do you create a good defensive posture? So how do you acquire that knowledge of how does a hacker think? How do you go? What's your secret to that?
So actually, it requires some kind of the biological stuff, not very deep, but a fundamental. So actually, for example, when your friends send you a link, so your friend is a threat sender. So your brain said, your decision maker part of your brain said, okay, it's a trusted person. no worries, click the link. But you don't know that your friend may be compromised. That's
Yeah.
quite funny in this case, because actually there are a lot of cases that threat actor compromised CEO email, HR team emails, and they're sending malicious document to other teams, and they clicking on because they infiltrated the decision making part of this guy that opening the document. So there are no secrets actually to understand the threat actor mindset. Every humans have a two sides: the evil ones and the angel ones. That's every human have it. So actually, it's just one small trick is you have to put yourself in the evil shoes. How they thinking? So actually, every humans have a two sides. It's like a knife. You can use the knife to make a salad, but you can use the knife to harm someone.
Yeah. Absolutely. But when you think about the five things you mentioned, understanding deep internals of systems, understanding C, understanding Windows,
Yeah,
understanding networking,
that's quite
that
important.
is a lot of disciplines. And you look at how, Russia infiltrated Ukraine, right, early on and got through it. To get inside that mindset, you have to get inside the mindset of hundreds of people because they had teams looking at this. What I guess people go, I'm just going to throw up my hands and I can't do anything. I'm just going to do basic cybersecurity because I can't fight a threat like that.
Yeah.
What do I even remotely do to counter something like that?
Well, actually, in a large scale attack, there are not only one person, because maybe there are a person for reconnaissance, passive and active. Maybe there are other person only for phishing campaign. Maybe there are other person for delivery stops. Maybe there are another person to developing a malwares in a different language. So the large scale attack, it's not work in one person. Maybe it happened, but it's a quite strange if one person can doing the reconnaissance, passive and active. One person can doing the uh phishing campaign. One person can doing blah blah blah. So it's hard to understand that every person in this planet when they conducting large scale attack. But even we have to be a one teams in our defense side in a blue teams and have the red team mindset. That's why red teams came to play in this area. So what's the red teaming? Actually, the red teaming is simulating the IPTs, simulating the real threat is against the blue teams. Who is the blue teams? Blue team is a defenders. So in this case, the blue teams have to put their self into the red team mindset. For example, maybe we have a BTS admin,
Yeah.
or we have a curl, we have a widget to fetching content from the internet. So this BTS admin, a blue teams can be using for downloading a legitimate software, but the red teams maybe abuse this bits admin utility in the Windows systems to downloading and executing a malicious package with that binded with the PowerShell script. So I think in a security community we have a great person, we have a great people, we have a smart guys, but what we miss it in most of the cases is a mindset. So for example, there are a lot of vulnerabilities every day, a lot of CVEs every day signed into the CVE database. But where is the security researcher is coming? So there are many vulnerabilities still unknown, even for the vendors. So we can call 0 days. Even there are many vulnerabilities inside some packages when the software developer is writing in.
You know, there's one thing that the red team cannot simulate, though, DR, and that is motivation. Right? So if I'm on the red team, I'm really not playing to do something, Whereas if I'm a bad actor, I'm actually looking for that outcome to happen, and I am motivated very, very, very differently. And
Yeah,
I guess that's a tough one to simulate. I don't know.
yeah, yeah,
I don't
yeah.
know.
So I think it's not quite difficult to simulate the motivation, because actually every stuff in this life when the human is doing have a motivation. For example, this podcast between me and you have a motivation. What's our the motive or intent is to sharing a knowledge into the internet and to protecting critical infrastructure, to protecting users from the digital threat. So it's a hard that someone put themselves into the attacker's shoes, but sometimes we have to doing this sacrifice to understand the full picture. Because actually if someone's actually the one nice quote is, you don't learn swimming by reading about the water, you have to jump out to it. So that's a
Yes.
yeah, yeah. No one's learning swimming about reading waters, how the waters, how they works, and blah blah blah. You have to jump into the water to understand the full picture. So the red teamers sometimes they put themselves into the attacker shoes with a motive in the labs, in the environment to understand the full picture, because every attackers have a motivation.
Very much so. And you chose one of the hardest areas after the attack is done to investigate these cyber crimes and to do malware analysis.
Yeah,
And in that instance, attribution, as we know in this industry, is very, very, very difficult.
yeah,
Right?
quite hard, quite hard.
So
I
why
have
did you do it then? Why go into cybercrime? Why go into the hardest part of this thing?
Yeah, because actually if you want to be if someone's want to be a great person in this life, he have to or she have to face the bad situation in their life, because in this case they get experience. That's a key point. It's true, attribution is one of the hardest key in this area. And I blame the defenders in this case. Maybe someone say, why are you blaming defenders? Because the defenders is making attribution is harder. Look at the MITRE framework as an example. They have a
Okay.
list of the groups of the threat actors, from IPT blah blah to IPT blah blah. And in each sections they mention the software, they mention the TTPs, they mention the others methods that maybe threat actors is using during their attack operation. In this case, for example, I am APT-Z and someone is APT-A. I am trying to simulate and copy the APT-A technique into my operation. In this case, when the security researchers came, they have a framework. Okay, this attack is happened by IPT1 while happening by IPT-Z. So that's the main issue nowadays. Because of the MITRE framework, because of the other models, threat actors or other groups can copy or clone the other techniques and method of other groups to their own operation, and that's make attribution is very hard. For example, we have some ransomware groups, they trying to steal the other ransomware group source code, just make some edit and start deploying the ransomware as service against the companies or government or institution.
Sure.
That's a defender mistakes in this area. That's like a knife, have a two sides.
Who are the geniuses that are coming up with this malware, or the techniques for phishing? Because these are very technical things, right? I mean, you look at some of the groups that are operating ransomware as a service. I know, there's this notion that you can go out and you can throw some money on the dark web and you can get the ransomware, you can get this, you can get all the components, and in a half hour you're ready to launch a ransomware attack against a company. But who are the people who actually are coming up with these technical advancements that allow these gaps to be exploited?
Well, so threat actors is actually divided into so many parties, from the nation states, from the APTs, from the script kiddies. Maybe that someone is doing ransomware servicing stuffs. They're actually scripted kitty in some cases, because actually nowadays we are living on the AI models. They are evil GPT, they are worm GPT, they are other offensive AI models that someone can use, or someone can jailbreak the AI models to producing a harmful content, is like writing exploiters, writing ransomwares. So it's hard to understand who is the guy behind this ransomware group, is because actually because of the copycat. I think it's called copycat. So they just
Yeah.
copy the copy and cloning the other techniques and the other methods. For example, if you came to other ransomware groups, someone steal the code, is just modify it and launch it again. It's a attribution, as you mentioned it before. It's one of the challenging stuffs in this area, and that's why in this age it's hard to understand who is behind this large scale attack, which country, which APTs. It's very hard, because actually you don't know who is it. Maybe he is or she is just copied the technique is a method from other groups and start using for deploying attack.
Is it possible to launch an attack and mask your tracks so effectively that you cannot ever be tracked?
Well, actually, you know, in our culture, we have a one quotas mentioned that the line the line of lie is very short. Is very short.
Okay.
Every crime leave a trace. Every crime leave a trace. Every activities leave a trace in a physical world and in the digital world. Maybe it will be anonymous for many years, but finally maybe they doing some OPSEC, operational security failures, and find this guy behind this attack or these groups. So it's just matter of time. They are, I think it's just matter of time. There are nothing hidden in the internet. So our anonymity is done when we connect to the internet. So yeah, that's my idea. If some, yeah.
Oh, look, you investigate this. So I'm going to take your word on it that you're not, if someone is really motivated to find out who did something, you're basically saying they're going to figure out who did something, who did that something.
Yeah, so actually it will be revealed finally. It's just matter of time, because there are some traces that in a Windows, in a Linux, in the Mac, in the servers that doesn't publicly available. They are maybe just available for law enforcement, or maybe they are just available for government institution. There are a lot of forensic artifacts nowadays. Maybe we doesn't aware about it in our Windows. Maybe we are just aware about shellbackers, shimcache, jump list, recent docus, even logis, and with some other softwares like autopsy or like volatility and so on. But there are dozen of the artifacts that still doesn't reveal it to the community and still is available for a government institution or law enforcement. But finally it will be revealed. So because actually everything's reveal a trace, leave a trace finally.
Is AI accelerating the development of malware?
Make it very easy. Make it very easy. Make it
Really?
very easy.
So they're saying, you know, the guys at all these AI companies are saying, well, you know, you can't abuse our AI to create these systems. They're safeguards.
No,
yeah, but you laughed, so please tell us.
So it's I think it's this. It's not make a sense, because actually threat actors or any person with a different mindset can jailbreak the AI to doing something. So there are a lot of stuff is that maybe it's not good to talking about it for our podcast policy, for YouTube policy, for the security community policy. But if someone, even he is AI engineer, I think he can't say no one can use AI or abuse AI to offensive operation. That doesn't make a sense. It can doing prompt injection, it can doing a jailbreak, or even the threat actors or even the individual can give the prompt to basic stuff is, but this basic stuff is basic Python script can lead to be keyloggers or info stealers.
Yeah, those are so basic. When you think about keyloggers, that's such an ancient technology, right? I mean, that's like cybersecurity 101.
So I have a one different idea and mindset. So no one's talk about how did you do that. They just care about the outcome. The outcome. For example, we have a game between Manchester United or Manchester City.
Yes.
The important key question and the key point is who is won the game? Who is the winner? No matter which teams played very well, skillful, and doing 100 streak into the goal target, it's not a work. The outcome is work. So sometimes the threat actor with the basic keyloggers can infiltrate a big organization while the other groups can't. So in the cybersecurity or in the cyber incident, the outcome is very important because, for example, it's compromised or not. That's a key question. It's a good to know about the tool. For example, using Metasploits or using Cobalt Strike, it's make a sense to have a full picture and full big reports. But the final and key point is they are compromised or not. That's a very important. So no matter the script is a basic, the matter is they achieve their goal or
not. Did they get compromised?
Yeah, that's
you can use the simplest of tools. I would have figured by now, and I know I'm being a little sarcastic here, that people would have figured out how to defend against these very basic things. But as we know, it's the basic flaws that create a lot of problems. Like people have not even changed the admin passwords on a lot of default systems. Now, what do you do with that?
Well, that's called misconfiguration. They happen everywhere, in a CCTVs, in IoT devices, in a simple word. So it's very good. Yeah, it's very good that a security researcher and the users have the basic foundation of security 101. Not only to be a security engineer, to protect themselves from cyber threats, because actually there are millions of devices nowadays that connected into the internet without even the user and organization knows about it. You can look on the Shodan, you can look on the Netflix, you can look on the Kinsys, you can look on the FOFA, you can look on the Zoom Eyes, many threat intelligent or internet-wide surgeon platforms. So that's I think there are another problems here. We have a protection. We have a EDR, we have a NDR, we have a XDR, we have a HIDS, we have a IPS, we have a IDS, we have a IIM, Identity Access Management, we have a FMA, we have a 2FA, we have a strong passwords, but we don't have awareness. Awareness is a key point. Yeah, it's a sound funny, but without awareness, protection is not always work. Protection is not always work. Yeah, let's make an example. You are working you are working as a HR team or human resource employee in a company A. And the threat actor is compromising your CEO email, your manager email. You will receive a document from your CEO email or your manager email, and you will click it or not. Just answer simply. You are click it or not.
I probably would click it.
Why? Because because
of trust.
of
I
trust.
have inherent
Yeah,
yeah.
but when awareness came to apply, if I am in your situation, I will call my CEO that you actually sending this email or not. And
Yeah, if especially if it's set to take a certain action, that would by far nobody would, as a
yeah,
matter of policy in our company,
and
would execute something.
there are other techniques, for example, like, and you can looking at the stylometry. If you know what's a stylometry, the art of writing, it's called
Yes,
stylometry.
which AI has made very easy.
For example, maybe for example, you can spot like very simply your CEO usually using best of luck, but in this case, this time using break a leg, using idiom break a leg. That's mean good luck. So you can differentiate that's a legitimate email or non-legitimate email by sentence, by the writing style, because everyone have a specific writing style of email. So that's a good example of how awareness work. If I am have awareness about security 101, I will call my CEO that you're actually sending me this document or not. In this case, I will not be compromised. And there
You're
are another important stuffs here. So the attacking stuffs, the cyber incidents, is not always by malware. Sometimes is by using initial access brokers like a combo list, info stealer logos from the dark web formers, from the other formers. So nowadays, threat actors is maybe doesn't doing full researches, working hours 24/7 a weeks to achieve their goal. They just trying to grab your credential from the dark web and from the threat intelligent platforms, and then just copy and pass and gone. That's
yeah.
very important. Or sometimes is from the supply chain attack by third party. So in every scenario, you don't have to
That's a big
blame.
one.
Yeah, we don't
We're
have to
seeing a
blame.
big growth in that in third-party attacks.
Yeah. We don't have to always blame the security researcher, blue teams, or IR team, DFIR team in company, because sometimes the attack is not happened by phishing campaign or spear phishing campaign. Sometimes it happened by buying your credential in dark web, and then or by your third party. So that's a game changer. That's a very very big area, big arena that needed time to understand.
So and it gets back to awareness. So is that the biggest mistake companies make in their detection strategies, that they don't implement them with awareness?
Well, I have a wide problem with the detection stuffs, actually, especially in a writing rules. Because actually, um, let's make one small example. We know about Yara rules, the Yara rules.
Yeah.
It's like a Sigma or the Snore and so on. So, for example, someone's or detection engineers is writing rules for malware's A, and malware A's using kernel 32.dll or user 32.dll to achieving their goal. But actually, in this case, when detection engineer is writing or mentioning kernel 32.dll or user 32.dll in their rules, it can cause lot of false positive, because even the legitimate programs to access the certain feature in the Windows, they using kernel 32.dll or using user 32.dll or using advanced API.dll to access the registry feature and as other advanced system utilities. So I think there are a lot of false positive in a detection engineering. For example, virus total. Let's make an example of the virus total. Virus total is a
Okay.
very write a small Python script, just message box or hello world. in the Python and use PyInstaller to compile your script into the executable file, and then go to upload into VirusTotal, it will be flagged as malicious. Yeah, that's a false positive. That's a false positive. Because actually, yeah.
But then this is where AI could come in, because it's not just the file, it's the behavior of the file that you're looking at.
The main key that VirusTotal or the other detection engineering software flag PyInstaller as malicious, because the threat actors is using PyInstaller to malicious purpose. So how?
Yes.
Why put you my simple script as a malicious file while it's just simple message box and hello world? That's
because it has no way to determine that.
Yeah. So they have to decompile. They have to look at source code is. Like there are many platforms do that. Like Unpack Me, there are a good platform called Unpack Me to unpacking the malware. You just upload it and it will read the source code, read the assemblies, registers, and other stuff to decompiling stuff. That's a very important key point is, and the most of the security engineers, they doesn't understand about the detection keyword. For example, when VirusTotal it mentioned generic. So actually, generic doesn't mean it's a malicious. Generic is a low detection. Generic. It doesn't mean 100% malicious file. And low. And if you see the randomized name is in a VirusTotal, it doesn't mean 100% is a malicious. But if you see Trojan, Win32, family names, and so on, you can have indicate it's a malicious. So there are a lot of failures in the detection engineering, and you can create a simple program in C# to put your software into the run once in a registry, or put your software in task schedule. It will be after a few minutes it marked as malicious. Why? Because threat actors using the task schedule or registry as a persistence.
Right. Very common.
Yeah, there are books called Antivirus Hackers Handbooks. It's a very good books for understanding how antivirus or EDR is working.
That's fascinating. I'll tell you what, Diyar, we're already at the hour. We're out of time, and we didn't finish all our questions. But I was going to say, I want to give you a couple minutes here to tell our audience about anything you're going to be, any presentations, talks, any things you're going to be involved with that you want them to know about. Anything you'd like to plug?
Well, actually, again, thanks for having me today. It's a very honor to this good conversation together. It's like a good TV show, actually. And the question came and answer gone and so on. Well, there are a lot of conferences I will try to attend this year, but because the space is closed because of the war today's, and maybe I will try to join remotely beside Budapest, beside Bratislava in Slovakia, and beside Dublin in Ireland. So there are 3 conferences I will try to presenting my research remotely, because the space are closed. There are no way to travel for this country.
No. For now, but hopefully not for long.
Yeah. I hope it will be finished as soon as possible, because there are a lot of people have their own flight, have their own workers in other countries. Because actually, I love attend the conferences a lot. So I will try to apply many conferences as I can every year to share new research papers, new method, new techniques about the malware's forensic, and to protect the users from the digital threat.
We have to get you back on and maybe do like a live lab session where you can talk about some of your research or techniques.
Yeah, inshallah,
and that would be fantastic, to share. But this has been a fascinating conversation, and
like a
Jim and you Harvey. Do great work.
Like a Jim Harvey TV show.
Yeah. You do fascinating work, and thank you for being on the show so late. I know it's late in your part of the world, and hope to have you back when you have something new to announce.
Inshallah. Thanks for having me again. It's an honor to be with you today.